Hello guys, welcome to Trismotorcycles YouTube channel, and today we are going to talk about what are the things you need to check before every ride. And if you haven't checked our social media, you can just check our TikTok on the same handle, Trismotorcycles, and be sure to join our Telegram channel where you learn more about this stuff. So let's dive straight into it. If you've ever heard of the name TCLOCS, it's an acronym that most motorcyclists use to guide them on what to check before every ride. So I have done this video so many times, and today I'm going to dive right into the details on what TCLOCS really mean and what you should check in every single letter. Okay? So T stands for tires. So what do you check in the tires? You have to check your tire pressure. That's one of the things that people don't do. I once met a Boda guy who was putting like 60 PSI on their bike, and I was like,
oh my God, what are you doing?
Cars don't even get 60 PSI, so what are you doing? And he tried to argue with me and told me, I'm going for a long distance and I don't want the bike to use a lot of fuel. And I just realized, oh my God, there are so many myths and misconceptions about this. So check your tire pressure. And how do you know your tire pressure? When you check your manual and you go straight to the a middle point or the topics under tires, you will be able to see the tire pressure that is recommended, especially when the tire is cold. On my bike, the Tris Concord 169, recommended tire pressure is 25 on the front and 29 at the back. Of course, when you're trying to go off-road, I recommend that you reduce the tire pressure a little bit so that you don't hurt your back, because the maximum pressure, it will just hurt your back. Itakuwa na your absorption of the, what do we call it? John, what do we call it? Yes, so it won't absorb any shock. So you always reduce your tire pressure before you go on rides that are off-road mostly. But any other time, just check your tire pressure. The other thing you need to check is your spokes. If your bike has spokes or rims, check if they're bent and if they're in optimum condition, right? Sometimes spokes need to be tightened a little bit, so always check with your mechanic if your spokes are good to go. The other thing you need to check with tires is the treads. So kama bike yako, the treads zimekulika, ziko karibu kukaa kama ulimi.
Yeah, that is a joke.
Just check that. It is not ideal to ride with tires that are completely gone. Let me know if you have any questions in regards to tires down in the comments, and I will answer each and every one of them. So the next one is C. So C stands for chassis. So under chassis, you check a couple of things. You check your suspensions. You check if your frame has gotten a bend, especially to those guys who buy used bikes and stuff. Just check if the frame has some sort of welding. If your suspensions are leaking, you can check from the forks. There's a way that you can see the leakage on the suspension. Check if there's any of that. And also on the back suspension, whether you're using a monoshock, just check if everything is nice and not squeaky. S stands for lights and electronics, or electrical. So lights, you always try and put your bike on a high beam, low beam, and then you try and flash the light to see if the pass light is working. And also you check your indicators, if they are both working, and your hazards, if your bike has one. And also one thing that most people forget is to check if their tail light is working. Tail light is the brake light at the back, so you try and engage the brake and see if it blinks every time you do that. And most people definitely forget that. Also check your wiring, if there's any wires exposed, if they're all nice and good to go. Check your battery and stuff. And then O stands for oils and other fluids. So some bikes have a spyglass, others have the dipstick. So when you open that oil, just open and then you check the levels. Of course, if your bike is not leaking, this should not be a problem. But sometimes if you have stayed for a long time without changing the oil, sometimes the oil gets used up and it might go low on the levels. And then the other C is for chain. So you check the chain tension I see some people who their chains play like a kayamba or something. The chain should have a play of 40 millimeters to 50 millimeters. It shouldn't like play a lot. When it's loaded, it should have like a small play, which is not too tight. It shouldn't be too tight. It should just have a nice play. Also check if your chains have been lubricated. I see most people who have very dirty chains and so dry, and at the end of the day it might cost you a lot more because you might have to change your sprockets, both sprockets, rear and front sprocket, and I don't think you want that. So always keep your chain lubricated. I recommend that you use a chain lube instead of grease because grease attracts dust. So I recommend chain lube because they're specially designed to protect your chain from water. They're water repellent, they're dirt repellent, so I recommend to get chain lube for your chain. The last but not least, we have the S for stand. So some bikes have stand switch. By stand switch, I mean every time your stand is engaged and the gear is engaged, it goes off. So check if that is working properly. If your bike does not have a stand switch, check if there is a smooth play when you engage the side stand or double stand. Check if that is smooth or it's also squeaking, because you don't want your stand falling off while you're riding.
You don't want that, Peter, man.
Yeah, that can be dangerous, or playing too much. And also check your spring that engages the stand and find out if it's in its optimal position. What are some of the things you do not check on your bike? Let me know in the comments below, and I hope this video has been helpful to anyone who wants to start riding. Remember, you can always join our social media conversation and also join our Telegram channel if you want to join the club. If you want me to cover something, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye.